Good morning, race fans. It is a picture-perfect morning in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin at America's National Park of Speed. Welcome to Road America, a 4-mile scenic drive through Wisconsin countryside. For the last 70 years, this place has become an icon of American motorsports. But for the last 5 years, GRIDLIFE has made it home. GRIDLIFE is a Chicago-based racing company that hosts racing, time attack, drift, and music festivals all across the country. On track now is 30 of our time attack cars from 7 of our competition classes, racing against the clock to set track records in those different classes. I'm Kyle Heyer, joined by Austin Cobb here this morning, one of our GLTC competitors that had an early end to your weekend. Austin, sorry that you couldn't race with us here. Of course, we've got our GLTC racing coming up in just a little while, but first up on track is our GRIDLIFE Track Battle Time Attack Series, which is all about racing the clock and racing each other in a time-focused capacity.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun this morning. It's 66 degrees, and the track has to be super fast right now. We already saw some records fall yesterday, and I think this is going to be a pretty spicy session. We should see some really quick times.
Yeah, really excited to get this one underway here. And for those that are unfamiliar with GRIDLIFE and who we are, almost all of these drivers work and build their own cars in their garage. They trailer them here themselves. These are homebrew, home-built cars, and it really is grassroots motorsports at its finest. So this is kind of how you get your way into wheel-to-wheel racing, is first really competing against yourself and pushing the limits of you and your car, and then at some point you'll make that leap from time attack into wheel-to-wheel racing. But this is sometimes a sport that drivers will continue throughout their entire hobbyist career.
Yeah, absolutely. Some people just really like the vibe of time attack. Wheel-to-wheel comes with its own risks and things you got to factor in and decide if you want to deal with that. Some people just love time attack, but we see quite a few time attackers make their move into GLTC. You got Austin Hurdle, Jeremy Swinson, even Luke McGrew. But yeah, I mean, you got these guys out here that are just going to lifetime time attack, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's awesome. We love to see it, and it's also a great place for people to get started. Once you move out of DE and start developing your driving even further, it's just part of the track.
And sometimes there are racing drivers that will come on over and play with us in track battle for a weekend. One of those drivers is a professional driver that spends a lot of time in the GT World Challenge America paddock. That driver is James Clay, making his first run with us in GRIDLIFE Track Battle. Caught up with him just the other day to talk about him and his number 336 BMW.
This is James Clay, driver of this awesome Bimmerworld BMW. Last time I saw James, you were climbing Pikes Peak a couple of months ago. You brought this car to GRIDLIFE for your first run in GRIDLIFE Track Battle. Tell me what you brought and what you're expecting this weekend.
All right, so this is our GT Moore car. This is an F82 M4, and it's a road car. So it started life as a road car, and we applied a lot of the technology and approaches that we run in the factory-built GT4 car, but without limitations. So in this case, a lot of things we can go further with. Bigger aero, bigger wing, bigger splitter. Of course, bigger power. That's where this thing really makes its time. This one is putting about 750 to the wheels versus in GT4 trim, we're ballpark 400 or so. It's big and heavy. It is still a road car, so it has full interior. We just pulled the back out and put a roll bar in it. Race seats to hold us in there. But it's a good little street track weapon.
James Clay, everybody. Pikes Peak to GRIDLIFE all over the place in this Bimmerworld BMW.
Well, 700 wheel horsepower is certainly nothing to laugh about, Austin. That is a car that has been right up at the top of our street modified category. Now, there are 7 different classes in GRIDLIFE Track Battle competition. Not all of them are represented here this weekend, but one of the classes is our unlimited category, and past the start-finish line right now just went Mike Dussault in a car that ran at, or was planned to run at Pikes Peak earlier this year, but that car had an accident and wasn't able to make that event, but it is here now and doing probably north of 160 miles an hour. I'm sure those at turn 5 will know by looking at the speed trap, but already some very fast cars tripping the timing and scoring loop as we head down towards turn number 1. So that is a Mike Dussault's Camaro, then Jackie Ding in his TA90 Toyota Supra. Following that is Nick Gardner in a blue and green Ford GT500 Mustang. Some really fast cars in those unlimited and track modified categories. Cal Fortner is working his way around at a Mercedes-AMG GTS, so lots of real serious cars in some of these faster categories.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Jackie Ding's Supra is not slow by any means. That is a very fast car, so the discrepancy of that Challenger just absolutely ripping down the front straight just tells you how much power, how fast that thing really is. But yeah, a lot of really fast machinery. I mean, 750 wheel out of the BMW, that's absolutely nothing to scoff at. That is a lot of power.
Certainly not anything to scoff at. Nick Gardner works his way through turn number 5. James Clay, by the way, through turns 6 and 7 right now in that 700 horsepower GT More is what they call it, which I think is a really unique category here as we head down towards turn number 8 now and work our way through the carousel for the first time. Variety of different cars at different downforce levels as well. And a lot of the aerodynamics are homebrew, home built as well. So that's something to consider. Is these drivers are basically building these cars in their garage. Sometimes they're buying aftermarket components to put on their cars, and often they're developing aero, which is something that Jackie Ding in that red Toyota Supra at Canada Corner has done with his PhD racing crew.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a big part of the game. You know, we're amateurs out here. We don't have access to wind tunnels and engineers and all, like, you know, people that are professionals at developing aero and race cars. And that's part of the fun. You know, if your brain is working in that way, you know, you love putting on new parts, trying new things out, take it to the track, see what works, see what doesn't. But the racetrack is our wind tunnel, more or less.
Yeah, certainly. And developing an aero for a track like this is sometimes a unique challenge because this track is so fast. We know the straightaways are really long here in this 4-mile facility, but it's kind of a tale of two racetracks when it comes to building a car for this place, or at least optimizing it for this place, because you got the first half of the track that's all straightaways and kind of 90-degree corners. And then you get to the second half of the track, and that's kind of a handling section, really turns 6 through 12. You're changing direction a lot, braking a lot, and using some aero, especially in places like the carousel.
Yeah, I mean, even the first part of the track is still very aero-dependent. I mean, turn 1 is brutally fast. You're barely slowing down. Then you got the kink, and, I mean, there's multiple corners here where if you sacrifice too much aero to try and go fast in a straight line,
Cal Fortner's got some sparks coming out from underneath his car on the run down to turn 1, and I wonder if that could be due to some lower tire pressures, perhaps, with the car sitting slightly lower to the ground. But I know he's got some titanium rub blocks under the front of that car, but certainly has something contacting the ground right now, whether it's intentional or not sure.
Maybe they're trying to run a super low ride height and just drag and split her around, trying to act like it's a GT3 car today.
Yeah, certainly. It's pretty quick, and we mentioned yesterday that Mercedes-AMG GTS actually shares a lot with the GT4 spec Mercedes-AMG at the moment. We're still waiting for some times to come across the board here as we work our way down towards turn 5. James Clay pulling off now.
Yeah, I wonder how the track's doing right now. I haven't seen times roll in just yet, but I imagine it's got to be really quick right now.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. And as cars work their way around, as far as classes and explaining what they do and what they are, we've talked about Unlimited and Track Mod. Let's have a look at what our street modified category, such as that Mercedes-AMG GTS or that 1985 Oldsmobile Cutlass working its way around the track. Here's a look at Street Mod Explained.
GRIDLIFE Street Modified, the fastest cars in GRIDLIFE that are still street legal. These are highly modified street cars capable of chasing track records. They also must maintain a full interior except in places where safety gear is installed. Horsepower and engines are unrestricted. Cars may have 2 aerodynamic devices, a combination of splitters, rear wings, and diffusers, and must run on 200 treadwear street tires. Engine swaps are allowed, but the drivetrain must remain in the same location and drive the same wheels as stock.
So back live here from Road America as we are about midway through our track battle time attack session. Racing coming up here in just a little while as well. So if you're waiting for our wheel-to-wheel racing series, that will be coming up in just about 15 to 20 minutes as Cody Smith works his way through turn 5 and heading up towards fans on the hillside there. Very unique vehicle in Street Modified, and the goal in GRIDLIFE is motorsports inclusion. Race what you want, track what you want, and for Cody Smith, it's a very different car than a lot of other drivers.
Yeah, he's been around for a long time, too. That is a crowd favorite. What a cool car. Love seeing that thing rip around the track. I mean, it's just so unique. You don't see a Cutlass just ripping around the track. It's amazing. So that's kind of maybe more in the realm of not really caring how competitive you are, but going out and doing it anyways, and we love it.
Yeah, it's interesting to watch, especially looking at the interior of the car as well, as finally we've got some times on the board to or cars tripping the loops now. But as far as that car goes, on the inside, it's actually really stock looking. It's just the 1980s interior, and you can make those cars drive a little bit better, but they're still old cars. They have a lot of chassis flex and things, so it can be challenging to make that car go fast, but he's performed pretty well. I think he's 10th in the street modified point standings coming into this event, which is a non-points round for track battle here, so certainly getting some speed out of it when he's on track.
Yeah, that's fantastic, and that's the spirit we love to see in grid life. Just getting out there, getting it done. He has been developing the car for a long time, and love to see him in the points chase.
Cars heading by the stripe now. One of them is a blue Nissan 350Z, and that is driven by a driver named Sam Bosnian, who is running in street class this season and is right up in the mix in the point standings in that 350Z, which is a pretty popular platform for Time Attack. The 350 and 370Z, you're starting to see more of them pop up as the chassis fall in price, and something has rolled off that RX-7 around.
Looks like he lost his rear window.
Oh, well, windows are only. They're not necessary, I suppose, right?
Yeah,
Unless it rains overnight or something like that. That would never happen.
The wing might get less downforce, but you also get all of that air out of the cockpit, so I don't know. Maybe it'll pan out.
Yeah, Brad Perkins about to enter the shot here from the right. That is a real high horsepower BMW M3. This next car that's going to be in shot, there it is. Brad Perkins, new livery on that Chicane Motorsport vehicle here this weekend. It certainly looks the part. Looks like he's also on a cool-down lap potentially here as he rolls into turn 3. And that's something we should mention is that Time Attack cars aren't built to run for 30 minutes. They're supposed to go out there and run 1, maybe 2 laps and set the fastest time that they can.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're pointing into the field cars are definitely going to be kind of one and done, that full-on, full attack build that is not made to run 15, 20 minutes. Some of these other cars, they might be able to do that. The 350Z of Sam we were just looking at, if it's a more street-oriented car, it might be able to run the whole session. But at the end of the day, you still got to have your tires underneath you. If you overheat them even just a little bit and you're losing a few tenths here, a few tenths there, that's a ton of time in Time Attack.
Yeah, it certainly is. Mike Dussault working his way towards pit exit as well, so we should get another look as the cameras have zoomed in for us, and we can see that there's something on track. We're going to actually get an extra look at it here, I think, if we pull the ticker away. Oh.
Enhance.
We're not doing this. This is the race control trying to get a look at what's out there. And
I did see quite a few cars come through a little slow, so I don't know if they were on cooldown or if they were avoiding something.
Can't really tell what that is. If you said it's a window, I believe you, but it is tricky to see. But
yeah, I know his rear window is one of those Lexan type windows, and it looks like it might have shattered and just disintegrated.
Well, we're going to get a look at it. I mean, this is our turn 1 camera now, so we're going to see some drivers work their way through it here. Again, it's pretty far offline. You're not going to get out to the rumbles that early in the exit of the corner, but something for race control to keep an eye on as Nick Gardner trips the stripe at a 2:17.771. That's a pretty respectable time. I think one of his fastest he's run this weekend.
That is a massively quick lap. I mean, 2:17 in a home-built street car is moving.
Yeah, and Gardner runs on slick tires most of the time. I haven't checked in to see what tire he's on here this weekend, but it's a GT500 Mustang and really good track car right from the get-go, so you don't have to do a lot to it, but he's switched out some carbon fenders. He's put some aero on it as well, stepping up. Again, Unlimited, you can basically do whatever you want as long as the vehicle has a VIN number. Here's Unlimited explained.
GRIDLIFE Unlimited, the top class in track battle competition. Each car must start life as a production vehicle with a VIN number and be closed-wheeled. Cars must have roll cages and fire suppression equipment. Nitrous and hybrid power are permitted. Engines, aerodynamics, and tires are all unrestricted. Some Unlimited cars are capable of 200 miles per hour.
So Unlimited, capable of 200 miles an hour. We've seen Ferris Khartoumi do 184 on the back straightaway here at Road America. That car is being shipped to Australia right now to compete in Global Time Attack, so it will not be here this weekend. But Mike Dussault heading up the front straightaway as well, and just passing the stripe now, and he's kind of offline running slower than I'd expect, so maybe not setting up for a fast lap. How about Alexander Roy, though, in that track-modified BMW, up into second place overall, and Peter Granberg with a 2:35.658. Not his fastest lap of the weekend, but 2:35 in a Honda-powered Subaru BRZ. Not a bad lap at all.
That is a very respectable lap. I would not be sad about hitting a 2:35 at all. Yeah, I wonder if there's something going on with timing. I was really expecting the track to be really fast. You know, we got a couple of 2:17s on the board, which would say the track's pretty fast, but it looks like a lot of people are on cooldowns, taking it pretty easy. So I'm not quite sure what's going on.
Yeah, I think the first couple laps there didn't at least register on our graphics at the very least. But David Calzada, by the way, up to a 217.446, and this is a K24 Turbo MX-5 Miata. So another Honda-powered car, unlimited. You can swap whatever engine you want into anything, provided it had a VIN number. So Calzada's Miata did have that. Swapped in a Honda 4-cylinder, put some big turbos on that thing, and it rips. It's a very, very fast car, and a 217. I don't think it's far off the stock car NASCAR times here this weekend in a car that was built in the 90s and has a Honda 4-cylinder in it. Not a bad time at all.
Yeah, that is a brutally fast time in a Miata. I mean, that's got to be kind of scary. I'm going to be honest. I drive a race a Miata myself, and man, a car that came from the factory with 185s in 1990, that's a wild feat.
Yeah, James Clay back on track as well in the 336 GT More, as they called it. Again, a 700 horsepower purple, white, and black BMW from the Bimmer World team. So glad to have them here in the paddock with us here this weekend. Great vibes, always a blast to chat with them. If you'd like to stop by, check out the GRIDLIFE paddock. It's just down by the tunnel, by the track exit. If you want to jump on down there after our race or during the lunchtime, we'll have all of our drivers here throughout the afternoon. There's Jackie Ding rolling back out on the racetrack now in his TA90 Supra. This is a 2021 Toyota GR Supra, and Jackie has put a lot of effort into developing this car, building aero for it, and it is one of the fastest street car Toyota GR Supras in the country.
Yeah, that thing's absolutely insane. He's put a ton of work into it. I was talking to him yesterday, and he was saying this is basically it's in retirement at this point because the M2 is being built. So he is looking to go out and send it and set some super fast laps. So I can't wait to see what he's got in this session.
Yep, so you see him rolling past turn one now on a warm-up lap for one more flyer, perhaps, maybe two more. There's still plenty of time in this session. We've got long sessions. We mentioned time attack cars aren't built to run for 20, 30 minutes. You go out there for 2-3 laps at a time. Speaking of Toyota and GR, there's a GR Supra, yes, GR Corolla on track as well with Neru Chetty behind the wheel. An all-wheel drive 3-cylinder turbo. Really unique vehicle. Brand new to the street car world. That's a brand new car for last year, and Neru has been driving this car at a bunch of GRIDLIFE events as he comes into shot here at turn number 2. Falls right into our Falcon Club TR category, which, of course, Falcon and the RT660 are the official tire of GRIDLIFE Track Battle. And there are 2 spec tire categories in GRIDLIFE Track Battle, Club TR and Sunday Cup. Sunday Cup is basically for Honda Fits and Mazda 2s, and Toyota Yaris is slow cars, going fast. And then Club TR is kind of your light race prep car, basically. They are make about 210 to 230 horsepower, somewhere there around there, but you can do engine swaps, but you can't open the internals of your engine. But a lot of other things are fair game. You can do adjustable coilovers, you can add some aero, but this GR Corolla fits right in pretty much stock.
Yeah, it's amazing, and it's awesome to see Toyota bringing so many cool cars into the market. I mean, that little hot hatch, I would have almost thought they were a bygone era, especially in the U.S., but here they are bringing out the GR Corolla. It's a fantastic car. I've actually got a friend with one, and it's a ton of fun. And, love seeing it out here ripping.
Yeah, and of course the Toyota GR86 has been a really popular choice as well. The Subaru BRZ, kind of all in the same vein. Lightweight, rear-wheel drive enthusiast cars. We're happy that they exist at all, but they're extremely popular cars in GRIDLIFE. As Ernestus Pezelis heads down towards turn number 3, this is about 700 and 800 horsepower Chevrolet Corvette, and this thing is sleek, it's fast, and it makes a great noise as it rockets down the straightaways here at Road America.
Yeah, I don't think anybody ever gets tired of hearing Corvettes absolutely wide open throttle around Road America. It sounds great. Give an Xfinity a run for their money.
Yeah, it's a 156 on the speed trap there heading into turn number 5 as he rolls out onto the rumble strips and heads up towards the Corvette Bridge, namesake bridge that's been here for many decades, as Ernestus's C6 Corvette will roll under that bridge and then through turns 6 and 7. Also on track heading down into turn 1, we mentioned Jackie Ding, but also Jamie Santos in the street modified category in that BMW 1 Series, very unique vehicle that you were interested in maybe building for GLTC.
Absolutely, super cool car. Talked to him quite a bit last night. He was telling me all about it, how all the panels from a 1M fit right on it perfectly. We were actually talking about building maybe theory crafting a 128 into GLTC. You don't really need the big turbo that the 135 has. But super cool car, really great build, super clean. Again, Kyle's been saying to go check out that GRIDLIFE paddock. I can't recommend it enough. A lot of cool cars down there, a lot of cool people that'll be super happy to talk about their build, tell you everything about it.
Yeah, Jamie Santos looks like he's maybe heading back to the paddock as he rolls off at turn number 5, so he will head back for home, maybe reset and do one more run. Jerry Liu, by the way, is in that green Porsche that you might have seen on the track a little earlier. That's part of our Street GT category, which basically big bore engines, under 130 grand MSRP, that's Street GT, but here is Street GT explained.
GRIDLIFE Street GT, cars with large displacement engines with 5, 6, or 8 cylinders. These cars are heavier and are allowed wide 200 treadwear tires. No internal engine modifications are allowed. Only showroom stock aerodynamics, and all vehicles must have an original MSRP of less than $130,000. All body components must remain the original material, and no engine or drivetrain swaps are allowed.
So that's Street GT explained for you, but just past the stripe a moment ago, Ernestus Pizelis just laid down a 2:14.283, which is, I think, one of the fastest laps he's done all this weekend. I think he went a little quicker, maybe a 2:12 or something yesterday, but not going slow in a homebrew, home-built car.
Absolutely not. A 2:14 is moving. Little surprised they're not going faster this morning. The conditions seem excellent. I wonder if the track is a little slick.
Yeah, it did rain here overnight. There was rubber laid down a lot yesterday, so I wonder if that kind of went away. Jackie Ding at a 2:13.387. That is unbelievably fast. I think that's a new track record for Jackie Ding. He broke the record yesterday in track mod. It was a 2:15.3 that he ran, so he's gone 2 seconds faster than he did even yesterday. So that's an unbelievable time in Jackie's Supra.
Incredible. I cannot believe he went 2 seconds faster. That's kind of what I was more so expecting this morning, though. I mean, these conditions seem really nice. And, Jackie, he told me yesterday he was going to send it, and there it is.
A 2:13.387 is unbelievable. Now, that car does make up to 650 horsepower in its highest tune mode, but remember that this aero, all the splitters and wings that he's put on this car, they developed in-house at their PhD racing shop just outside of Chicago. This is a home-built car as true as it can be, and to do a time like that around Road America, and also to trust that aerodynamic functionality, right? You're heading off into the carousel at north of 100 miles an hour, leaning on the balance that you've created. That's a lot of trust in something that you've put together yourself.
I think that honestly kind of helps in some way. I mean, 213 is brutal. That is definitely a lot of trust in the machine you have built. But I mean, Jackie's just, he's got that mindset. He's going to go out there, he's going to do it.
Ernestus Pizelis back to the top at a 2:12.934. So his fastest lap here of the session here this weekend. And the unlimited rear-wheel drive record, again, a 2:04 set by Ferris Khartoumi back in the fall of 2021. So I don't think we're going to knock on the door of an unlimited class record here this weekend, but Ernestus is certainly putting up some very respectable times in a car that is not quite to the prep that Ferris's 1,200-plus horsepower Corvette was back here a couple years ago.
Yeah, I think Ferris even has like a switch to crank it up to 2,000 horsepower on the straights, as far as I know, which is absurd.
Yeah, what's the saying about not having enough horsepower until you can lay a set of tire marks from the exit of one corner to the start of the next?
Yeah, if you can lay 11s down from turn 14 to turn 1, you're doing something right.
It's amazing. But also rolling back on track is Cal Fortner in the number 14 Mercedes-AMG GTS that we talked about earlier. He's got his parents here this weekend. They run an auto body shop in Indiana that has done some work on my car, so very thankful for knowing those guys. But they roll down towards turn number 2 and 3. And this is a car that they've also been putting some development work into and have some aero in their car.
Yeah, I mean, that car could be pretty brutal fast, I would think. Kind of the same theory as the BMW we were talking, the GT More. It's kind of in that same category. You can take what's essentially a GT4 car and just crank it up to 11.
And also another Corvette on track in our track modified category, Dalton Klein. That's the orange Corvette working its way out of turn 1 now. Just ran a 2:26.317. And Dalton and the Iowa Man Racing team, they really enjoy playing around with this car. And I say that because over the winter, They posted a picture to Facebook of this car 6 feet in the air, flying on an ice racing course. No front bumper, but this thing, I kid you not, I could have stood underneath it as it was sailing through the air. They just have so much fun with this car. And Dalton will take it ice racing, snow racing, and here at Road America takes it on the racetrack. Just the epitome of fun as Prozelis lays down another time, but it's not quicker. And he will stay at that 2:12.934.
I mean, I love that energy. Just taking it out, doing everything with it. That's what it's all about.
Because why not, right?
Yeah, why not? That's what it's all about.
It's just a car. You can always get another one, right?
Oh, man, that kind of hurts.
Oh, boy. Well, and again, we mentioned that you were running GLTC here this weekend, but your weekend ended in practice 1, unfortunately, with a little bit of an off and then blown out oil cooler line, and that was it for the weekend.
I didn't even ramp 6 feet in the air. You definitely would not have fit under my car.
Yeah, I wouldn't have tried probably at that stage either, but unfortunate start to your weekend, but I'm glad to have you up here in the booth with me as we work our way through this Track Battle Time Attack session. If you'd like to learn more about Track Battle or the sessions, the way that we run our sessions at our normal events or the classing structure, go to grid.life and go to the motorsports section and find Time Attack, and you can go through all the categories. I promise you, if you're at home watching or if you're here at the racetrack, you probably have a car that you drove here that will fit in one of our categories with pretty much nothing but brake fluid. So if you want to give it a go and give driving in Grid Life a go, we have events all over the country. Whether it be here at Road America, we head to Watkins Glen, Lime Rock Park, Laguna Seca, Gingerman Raceway in Michigan, sometimes Blackhawk Farms, which is not too far from here. So there's something for everybody everywhere, which is part of the draw to Grid Life, right, is being able to get people on the racetrack and go for a drive as fast as they can.
Yeah, absolutely. Just about any car can actually get on track as long as it's mechanically sound and you do a little bit of the track prep. Different cars need different things, making sure they stay cool and, just make sure parts are up to snuff. But, yeah, I mean, just about anything, especially when you're a beginner, you can get on track, you can have a lot of fun, and then you can explore the sport from there.
One of our Falcon Club TR competitors that's on track is currently listed 10th overall at that 2:35.658 is Peter Granberg, who we caught up with yesterday.
I'm with Peter Granberg, driver of the number 511 Subaru BRZ. Started life a lot more stock looking than it is now, Peter. You've done a lot of changes this season to make the car faster. Is this your first time at Road America?
This is my 3rd time, but it does feel like my first time because the first time I was here, I had a turbo. This car was turbocharged, and the second time, shout out to Mark, he let me drive his Celica here. So this is the first time with me driving this car the way it is now.
New pavement this season with the repave. It's new for basically everyone. How's it been so far, and how have you been finding speed on this this track that's been said to be slick even with the new pavement?
Yes, so I will say just from the changes alone with the car and the tires, I have a lot of grip except for one turn, turn 6. That, for whatever reason, coming up the hill right underneath the bridge, the car wants to just like kick out after the turn. So that's the one spot, but everything else like carousel and the kink, I'm blazing through there. It feels great.
Peter Granberg searching for track records in Falcon Club TR.
Turn 6, huh? Slick out there, Austin?
Turn 6, turns out he's on to something there.
Yeah, it's been a tricky spot, and I think the top right of the shot is turn number 6, and for those of you that are right near the Corvette Bridge, right after that is turn number 6, and you're coming up over a hill, cresting a hill, and all your mechanical grip drops away, and you're going slow enough that if you have aerodynamics, they're not doing a whole lot for you. So it's a really challenging corner and probably one of the most difficult on the track.
Yeah, it's honestly one of the trickier corners that you wouldn't really think it is, but like you're saying, you're coming up the hill, you crest it, then you lose all of your weight. It's actually a corner where you can catch yourself out trying to push too hard into it, where what is actually faster is to brake a little earlier, little lighter, roll speed, keep that chassis balance, and just keep it underneath you because you don't want to do what I did.
Another car on track right now that has gotten his money's worth this weekend with his track time is Andreas Bertulis, who is in a Lexus RCF. Now, this is a car that we talked a bit about yesterday. Real heavy, real powerful, but pretty capable as a track car. And he's been lapping lap after lap after lap, and not overheating, not running wide, not burning the tires off. I don't know how he's doing it, but he keeps that car on track a lot longer than everybody else, and it's fun to watch.
Yeah, you talk about having a heavy car. Usually you're going to struggle. Heavy car, a lot of power. You think you're going to struggle with water temps, tires, keeping them underneath you. But, hey, if you're out there having a great time and you don't want to come in, then Keep sending her.
Yeah, just ran a 2:29.448, so a pretty respectable lap there as well. And up onto the rumble strips at the exit of Turn 1, and that's one of the things the bigger, heavier cars that have some beefier suspension won't really have trouble with, is the rough curbing here at Road America. Keeps everybody in the track bounds. If you've got a lighter weight car, a smaller car, or an older car, sometimes those curbs can be pretty rough on your equipment.
I don't relate to that. I mean, if there's asphalt, I'm using it.
I love it. Checkered flag is being displayed here in the GridLife Track Battle, the Time Attack Series, which is our second to last Time Attack session of the day. We'll have one more before our final race of the afternoon. But up next is our GridLife Touring Cup Series race, which is a power-to-weight single-class racing series. It's sprint racing, and we'll show you that here in just a moment's time. We'll be right back with GridLife Touring Cup here from Road America.